This student had a meltdown over crazy rent prices.
No, because you, America, for making me for making me work 4 jobs while I'm in college in rural Tennessee and I can barely pay my own rent and
40 billion. Yeah, you probably heard 20. It's not. It's 40 billion of American tax dollars is going to Argentina, to bail them out for their failed economy. Yeah. Can you imagine right now being a parent of a disabled child, being told all your services were cut off, but we're going to take care of those people in Argentina? Can you imagine being a houseless person or a mother of 3 living in her car right now, literally seeing the headline that the American tax dollars of 40 billion
month I won't be able to afford rent. I'm not a rich person. I don't have a lot of stuff. I have basic household necessities, a couch, a bed, washer, a dryer. That's about it. A car. I don't have a lot of lavish things. I don't go on vacations and I don't spend a lot. Rent's increased from $1,300 to $1,800. The food prices are too high. I've cut back on eating because I literally cannot afford food.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, these MAGA supporters laughed when black people were crying. They mocked the black people when they were protesting. And now, after voting Make America Great Again under Donald J. Trump and watching their dreams collapses, the white Americans are now crying out for the very people they once ignored to come help them. The people that they once mocked and even oppressed. And these are none other than the black Americans. Because the tables have turned against them. And the system doesn't care anymore. Whether white, black, yellow, red, it doesn't care. The system cuts across it. And guess who is suffering? The very people who supported the system that they thought would protect them. Now, great people, I want us to watch these clips of white Americans crying out loud for the black people or the black Americans to come help them. Because the economy has become so expensive and the cost of living has gone through the roof. And therefore, they can't afford to live in America anymore. So guys, let's watch these clips, then come back and have a talk as far as this topic is concerned. And of course, if you love our discussions, if you love our videos, if you love this channel, please show us love by subscribing to this channel. And you can as well join our membership to be part and parcel of our group discussions, guys. Thanks so much, guys, and let's dive straight, watch these clips, then come back and have a talk.
The white people in USA, they are suffering. They are crying all over social media, stating that their life has become very expensive and unbearable. They are begging the black people to intervene so that they can remove this regime. They thought that voting for Trump, everything will be good and it will be best for them. According to these people, black people are the one who are supposed to suffer. They are stating that black people, they suffer because of their skin. And right now, they are the ones suffering in their own country. They're saying that they cannot even afford food. They cannot even afford gas. They're saying that they even think that Trump is after them, that Trump wants to finish all of them. They're saying that Trump was supposed to make America great again, but right now it's worse because of the VAT, because of the tariffs. It has increased taxation and a lot of people cannot even afford food. They're saying that they are regretting voting for Trump and they want everyone to intervene, to come together and remove this regime. To be honest, I don't think the black people, they are going to join them because they want them not to vote for Trump, but they did not listen.
This student had a meltdown over crazy rent prices.
No, because you, America, for making me for making me work 4 jobs while I'm in college in rural Tennessee and I can barely pay my own rent and I'm taking 19 credit hours on top of those 4 jobs and I still can't graduate on time and I still can't graduate early even though I'm taking 21 credit hours next semester. It's not fair. It's not fair anymore. It's never been fair, not in my lifetime. And will it ever be fair? No, because I'm a woman in America. I just want to live in peace, America. And I will one day. Probably something else.
Half of all renters in the US spend more than 30% of their income on rent. Rising rent prices are pushing record number of Americans towards the threat of homelessness, so the system definitely doesn't work and something needs to be changed.
I was thinking about this. We are the richest country on the planet, one of the richest countries. Why does it look like ass? Like, really think about that for a second. Like, when you're driving, if you're not in like Florida or California or the coast of like Oregon or whatever, it's like, this place looks like shit. And we have so much money. Like, I'm thinking of like Europe and Japan and all of the architecture like across the world and how beautiful it looks. Why don't we have like rose gold fucking buildings, and like, why does the Kmart's and like all of the stores look like shit? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm closing my eyes and I can imagine like like, look at China, like Shanghai, like the coast, like all those videos you see. That's like, no joke, stunning, beautiful, high tech. You would think America would look like that with the amount of money that we have, but it just looks like, ugh, you know what I mean?
What I'm about to say is probably going to make you sick, but you probably need to hear it. You're not bad with money. America is really this expensive right now. But let's talk what it really costs to be average in this America. The average American household income is somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000, in that range. And after taxes, a lot of these people bring home anywhere from $40,000 to $55,000, which is not very much. Daycare for 2 kids costs upwards of $27,000 a year, which leaves, give or take, 19-ish grand to live off of. Breaking it down even further, that leaves about $350, give or take, a week for living expenses. And most people's household costs are well above that. The average household grocery cost right now is $800 to $900 a month. An average 3-bedroom apartment is upwards of $2,100 a month. I saw something recently that said that the most comfortable livable income would be anywhere from $175,000 to $220,000 to be able to live comfortably. So no amount of eating ramen noodles or cutting out Starbucks or starving is going to change that. Our system is broken 110%. And we still continue to climb that ladder, hoping for better tomorrows. We think with that broken thought process that if we keep climbing, we're going to find the top. What we happen to have forgotten is that we have met that debt ceiling a long fucking time ago. So if you voted for the Make America Great slogan, please let me know how this makes America great. Is this adding up for you? Because the cost of egg prices are not getting better. The cost of gas is not getting better. None of this is getting better. And if this isn't adding up for you, welcome to my page. I definitely think you are the bigger part of America who is suffering from the consequences of this administration. The math is not mathing for me currently. So if you're also feeling the burn, hit the save button, share it out, follow me, help support another average American that is out here just trying to supplement her income.
I got a letter recently that my property taxes are going to go up $600 a year from now on. I got a letter that my homeowner's insurance is going up $60 a month. My propane company sent me a letter that my propane is going to double this year. They just came and filled up my tank. It was $1,000. That's crazy. Also, as a entrepreneur and business owner, I get my health insurance through the marketplace. So you have the Affordable Care Act. I pay $45 a month. They just informed me that if this bill passes and I lose my tax credit, I'm going to go from $45 a month to $660 a month for health insurance. I need to buy a new car and I can't, because the cars have gotten more expensive and the interest rates have gotten so much more expensive. I can't find a reliable car that has the same monthly payment of $450 a month that I've been paying now for a new car. Not necessarily new, but new to me. Groceries are insane, and it feels like every day I get a new email from another subscription that I have, whether it's Netflix, my website subscription. Everything's increasing in price. And I sit
pretty much every day stressed about money. And yet I know that there are so many people in this country that are way worse off than me. And they're not making it, y'all. They're not making it. What hurts me the most is that there are so many women, especially, that just cannot afford to leave abusive homes and they have to stay in it because of this economy. So are we great again, America? Like, is this what you voted for? Meanwhile, they all sit there in DC, not feeling any of these pressures, not doing anything about it, not giving a shit about the American people. I have been extremely poor and I have been extremely wealthy. And I know from firsthand experience that the wealthy people don't notice it. And most people are pretty self-absorbed and aren't thinking about other people anyway. So we got to talk about this more. We got to raise hell. We have to let DC know that this is not acceptable. Regardless of your party, we have got to help each other.
Y'all want to know one real reason why America's crashing out like crazy right now? Mediocrity don't hit like it used to, baby. See, once upon a time in America, you could be real mid and still thrive. Mediocre effort, boom, you get a house, car, annual vacation, pension, hell, maybe even a boat. You could clock in, coast through the week, grill on Sundays, and still retire with dignity. But that era is dead and gone, baby. And instead of leveling up or adapting, they're mad, they're bitter, and they're not even blaming the billionaires. They blaming you. They have the audacity to blame me. They blaming immigrants, black people, queer folk, anyone they think is taking something that used to be theirs by default. See, they don't want equality. They want comfort. And when mediocrity no longer gets them that comfort, they start rewriting the rules to rig the game again. It ain't about fairness. It's about preserving the lie. The lie that being average should still be enough for them.
I got laid off from my corporate job yesterday. And I think that this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now, and it needs to be shared because America is not doing well right now. We have a 94% prediction rate that the recession's gonna come, but yet our frickin' administration hasn't even made the move to actually say that a recession's coming. And let's actually call it what it is, a depression. People can't afford groceries, they can't afford rent, they can't afford buying houses, they can't afford having babies, they can't afford having the kids in general if they already have them. We are not in a good spot, y'all. I know that I'm just a number in a company, but I thought I was okay. You're going to think that you're okay because you've worked there for so long or you have the right experience. Like, you guys, I have an undergraduate in marketing, a master's in business, 6 years of paid social media experience, both on a strategist and manager level. I have done people management for at least 3 years. I'm a senior level in my career. And yet, when I was hired to do a senior level role, I was forced into entry level positions. I was doing entry-level work as a senior-level strategist, all while at the same time being asked to reduce my workload with AI, and our team was having layoffs every 3 months. I should have seen it coming. I really should have. But the thing is that it was not something that I saw coming, because the day before that they laid me off, I was literally talking coverage plans with another employee who was going on leave for months. How am I supposed to sit there and not think that I'm safe in that moment? I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that we live in a world like this where my manager wasn't even the one that fired me, by the way, or laid me off. It was frickin' HR, and they read off a script, but my whole team got laid off. And this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now. My partner is a first responder, so I'm very lucky for the fact that I can be leaning on him for support right now, because luckily his job is secure, thanks to the fact that number one, his job is essential, and number two, he has a union behind him. What I will never understand is why corporate agencies have not unionized. We're not allowed, right? We're not allowed. That's part of it. We'll get fired because at least in this corporate world, they're always going to side on the side of business because that's what's making the government money. This world right now is not supporting people. It is supporting business. You are just a number, unfortunately. So please prepare yourself for shit like this. I wish I would have. I wish I'd been applying to other jobs months ago. I just was so dumb to not realize the signs. I want to talk about it. I think people need to talk about it. I think we need to make this more public. We all saw the jobs report. It was awful. Getting laid off on the day that the jobs report goes out, and it's 22,000 instead of 75,000 new jobs. You know how discouraging that is? If you know of anything in the marketing space, let me know. Use my comments as a way in which to maybe trauma dump. I don't care, vent. I'm here for you guys. I can't believe this. And I'm really sorry if you're going through this too. Here for you.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me, why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy and then everybody else is just poor. Like, that's what is happening. And then I told him, hey, when you turn 25, at least your car insurance will go down. Hell no, he turned 25 and his car insurance went up $150. I tell him, if you need health insurance, get a good job. He has health insurance. He has had a medical emergency this week. Had to go to emergency room twice. He had to go to the emergency room because he couldn't get anybody to see him with the health insurance that he had. Right? So he had to go to an emergency room. Now he's out money for that too. It seems like you can never get ahead. And then my daughter, I told her all you have to do because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paying double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount. And then her mortgage company, after she's already moved in, said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you need this type of coverage, which we forgot in the beginning. That's an extra $200 you've been paying a month. And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age, on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75 grand a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, dog's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to. There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her 1-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that 1-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, like, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. Then, like, she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen, guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant, okay? So there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary, even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really, really pisses me off.
America is the only place where poor people will fight to stay poor. You ever notice that America is like one of the few places on earth where poor people will shun the things that benefit them and make their lives easier? Like, you're struggling to make ends meet. You work in 2 jobs, can't afford health care, child care, or even groceries sometimes. And instead of saying, yeah, I deserve help so me and my family can breathe, folks instead be out here like, nah, I don't want no handouts. The thing is, it's not even a handout. It's your money. You already paid taxes for it. That's not even charity. You're getting back what you put in. But we've been so conditioned to believe wanting help or needing help makes us weak or lazy that people would rather suffer than get relief. And the wildest part to me is working class people don't even trust other working class people. They dismiss what you say, but let some billionaire in a suit. They dismiss what you say, but let some billionaire in a suit say, who ain't never punched a time clock a day in their life, tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and suddenly that's gospel to them. And I'm sitting there like, hello, this guy don't even own boots. All it does is keep the system broken. Because see, while you're too proud to accept housing, childcare help, food help, you know, the things that literally improve your quality of life, rich folks are laughing all the way to the bank. And then you end up taking food and resources out of your own family's mouth just to show you're self-reliant. Wake up. Rich people don't like us like that. They're not losing any sleep about if your lights get cut off or if you can afford to feed your kids. Stop siding with people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. Because the truth is, the only folks who really got us is us.
Living in America is exhausting. You wake up tired. You go to work tired. You come home, barely surviving, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, come home, and you're still fucking broke. Every single month, rent's due. Rent is through the roof. Groceries are double what they used to be just 2 years ago. You go to the gas pump to fill up your car and it's like you paid another car note. Everything, and I mean everything, is up in price. But your paycheck, still the same. And once inflation gets done with it, it's probably even a little less. Yet somehow, they keep telling us, just budget a little bit more. Just work a little bit harder. Like, I'm sorry, how many jobs do I need now? 4? 5? 7? That's not living. That's barely surviving.
So, I don't normally ever come on here and post anything except of my dog because he's absolutely gorgeous. But I am extremely frustrated being a full-time employed person living in Florida and not being able to afford to live. I have spent my whole fucking day off trying to find a, more affordable place to live because I can't afford fucking $1,300 a month in rent and then fucking a $650 car note and then $300 in fucking insurance and then you got utilities and it's just it's either I eat or I pay my bills, and then even then it's like, okay, well, which bill's gonna be fucking late this month? And I'm so fucking sick of it. Like, all these fucking apartment complexes and realtors and even private renters, fuck you so fucking hard. And I mean that with everything in me. Fuck you. I nor anybody else should be working 60 plus hours a fucking week and not be able to fucking live. I'm about to crash the fuck out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me losing my fucking mind. I don't know. But I'm about to lose my shit because I just can't take it.
You're not struggling because you're poor. You're struggling because you live in the USA. You're struggling because prices have gone up tremendously, but the wages haven't. You're struggling because your bills continue to increase, but your wages haven't. You're struggling because you have greedy, corrupt CEOs of companies that are continuing to record record profits but are refusing to pay their workers a livable wage. You're struggling because the country that prints money won't give that money back to its people. You're struggling because the country that is in $37 trillion and counting worth of debt somehow finds a way to give billions of dollars to fund new wars but won't find any money to fund the poor. You're struggling because this country is stealing 30 to 40% of your income, if not more. You're struggling because after this country wrongfully took 30 to 40% of your income, they're telling you to pay more during tax season. You're struggling because homes that used to cost $150,000 to $200,000 10 to 15 years ago are now costing $400,000 if not $500,000. You're struggling because those starter homes that used to be seen as affordable are now being bought by large corporations. You're struggling because rent was under $1,000 10 to 15 years ago is now costing almost $3,000 for a one bedroom. You're struggling because these greedy landlords continue to increase the rent. You're struggling because a $100 grocery bill 10 to 15 years ago will get you a huge haul, will now only get you a few things in 2025. You're struggling because the gas that you used to fill up your car used to be $1 and some change per gallon is now almost $4 a gallon. You're struggling because the cost of having a good time and living life has gone up tremendously. An airplane ticket used to be $200 round trip is now $400 one way. It used to cost under $1,000 to enjoy a vacation. Now it's costing almost $3,000 to $4,000 depending on where you go. You're struggling because you're forced to get a second job just to make ends meet as things continue to skyrocket. You're struggling because the American dream is no longer the American dream. It's the American nightmare.
So guys, I want us to talk about MAGA. The MAGA illusion is shattering. They promised America first. Jobs, pride, and prosperity. But instead, they got rising prices, job losses, and collapsing communities. The system they defended is now eating them alive. The people who shouted MAGA, the people who once wore the MAGA hat, are now crying for the people, for the black Americans to come help them, because they failed to listen to the voices of the oppressed. Now, their system is now working or doing its job. You know, the greater gain they hoped for never came. Instead, there is harsh reality which they regret. They listen to the oppressed voices, because the middle class white Americans now feel what black America has felt for centuries. The struggles, uncertainty, and system that doesn't even care about them. Homelessness, layoffs, medical debts. It is all hitting the heart of the rural America. The same policies they voted for are now hunting them. Suddenly, the American flag doesn't wave the same way it used to do. The irony of history is here. The same people who once said, pull yourself up by bootstraps, are now begging for help. The same one who said, stop blaming the system. You know, for decades, they ignored the pain of the black Americans. And now they're feeling it firsthand. They're feeling it firsthand. And this is what people need to know. Karma doesn't always come fast. But when it comes, it's very loud. The whole world has to witness it. The good thing with my black people is that the black people have survived in the same system that is now oppressing the entire America today. And with that, they learn to survive in America. They know how to survive because they are built from nothing to something. Because the system gave them less opportunities. Therefore, they use that opportunity to turn pain into power, struggle into soul. And therefore, those who looked down on them are realizing that they have always had the answers: unity, resilience, and the community oneness. They are realizing that maybe the ones they mocked, who are the black people, had the blueprint all along. They understand how America should be governed. They understand the best person for the presidency of America. Therefore, when they gave you Kamala Harris, they were not mad. They knew what they were doing. Because as you see right now, America is cracking under its own arrogance. The MAGA dream has exposed deep hypocrisy. You can't build freedom on the oppression. And until America learns equality, justice, and truth, it will keep eating its own. Because the cries today are very loud. But are they sincere? Or they just fear talking? Because they always depend on the black voices to speak for them. And today, their cry is very loud. And they want the same people they once oppressed, the same people they once looked down upon, to come help them. Are they truly sincere? You know, what is funny is that they say that America doesn't owe anyone anything when black people were asking for the reparations. They said that America does not owe anyone anything. And now they want the same people to come help them. The same people they once looked down upon. The truth is, you can't heal a nation built on denial. You gotta face the truth, face the mirror, and see the reflection of yourself. So tell me, do you think these cries are genuine, or is it just some desperation now that the system has turned on them? Let me hear from you guys in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, and may God bless you. And until we meet again in my next video, this is your guy Fred from the motherland.